When ex-Jehovah's Witnesses talk about the negative effects that the shunning arrangement has on families, the first thing that you think of is parents not talking to their children, grandparents avoiding grandkids, and siblings alienating their brother or sister, and so on. What happens when one spouse wakes up, but the other hasn't? Let's talk about it.
Don't sue me, bro.
Welcome to Ex-Witness a Week. I'm your host, Jonathan. I hope that you are having an amazing day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you already haven't, as it helps to get this out to as many people as possible. Now, first, I want to say that I didn't personally experience a marriage where one person woke up and the other didn't. However, I have experienced the pain that comes with divorce, and so I feel that I have a little bit of stake in this conversation. With that said, let's get into it. Lately, I've seen many couples who have faced or are facing the difficult position of being in a marriage where one person has woke up, but the other person is firmly entrenched in the religion. While it's difficult enough to deal with your changing beliefs and the crumbling of your faith, it's 1,000 times worse to have a person that you care about deeply, who you chose to spend your life with, suddenly having an opposing view to you, perhaps a position where they're going to have to choose you or the religion. In a perfect world, you both would wake up at the same time, both keep your relationship exactly the same, and live your life with the freedom that comes with choosing your beliefs and not have any detrimental effects to your relationship with one another, even though your life is obviously changing. Unfortunately, that's rarely the case, as everybody is different, and they're going to have different views, they're going to have different opinions, and they're going to see things differently than you do. So, what do? Well, you might find yourself frantically looking on the internet for options as to what's the perfect thing to say to your spouse, what's the perfect thing to say to your husband or wife that's going to wake them up. Unfortunately, as with trying to wake up your parents or your brothers and sisters, it's something that they have to do on their own. So there really is no secret formula of scriptures and news clips and information that is going to make someone wake up. They have to do that on their own, just like you did. Now, sharing the information that you found might actually be effective. After all, if you know each other really well, maybe there's something you can think of that would have an effect on them and make them think and perhaps wake up. But don't be surprised if this can backfire if you approach them with the wrong information. From what I've seen, it's best not to bombard your spouse with all kinds of information and start fights. You might think, well, I've got one shot to make this work, so I'd better send everything that I found all at once and hope that I can destroy their faith in the organization in one fell swoop. Probably what that's going to do is make them feel like they're being attacked, and also is going to reinforce what they've been told from the stage, that apostates, which you would be at this point, are going to try and destroy everything positive about the organization and only show the negative. And mind you, there's a lot of negative out there about the organization, and with good reason. But also, there are some positives, as there are good people in the organization who are just trying to live their lives and serve God in the way that they think is the best. So now you've served up a big helping of Jeffrey Jackson at the ARC, perhaps shown them some media reports of elders who have been accused and convicted of crimes against children. Maybe you've shown them JW Facts or avoidjw.org. These are definitely some things that have been effective to wake up some people. And fingers crossed it'll be what works for you. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be a long game. It's important to give people time, not to hit them all at once, and respect them that they have to come to their own decisions. Now, in the time that I've been active speaking out against Jehovah's Witnesses, I have seen several couples, some on TikTok, some on YouTube, that have left the organization as a couple And once they did, they come to find out that the reason that they were married in the first place was based on being a spiritual Jehovah's Witness. And therefore, since that dynamic has changed, they really don't have as much in common as they thought they did. So then comes the difficult decision of, do we stay together or not? But it's important to remember that being happy and content in your life is very important, and you may find that you have to do that separately, that you may have different views and that you have to part ways. Then again, you may find that as a couple, you're really best for one another. You got lucky and you picked the right one, and you decide to stay together and pursue happiness together away from the organization. But this discussion is really about what happens when one person wakes up and the other doesn't. So what is the future going to look like for this type of a scenario? Well, it can be a really unhappy, stressful time. As I mentioned in the beginning, I have experienced divorce, and it sucked. Not something that I would recommend for anyone as an experience, but unfortunately, things happen. Life changes, people change, and sometimes marriages just don't work out. You may love deeply your wife or husband, and they may love you deeply, but sometimes you have to let things go in order to grow. Sometimes you have to let things go in order to really actually be happy. No one wants to live a miserable existence in a relationship where the other is not happy with you. So it comes down to deciding what is really the right thing to do. Do you stick it out even though you have a burning pit in your stomach? You maybe turn to drugs or alcohol to cope? Do you just avoid the subject of religion and spirituality altogether? Is that going to work? Who's to say? It's a hard decision, and it's one that you have to make, and no one can really tell you what to do. But I can tell you from my own personal experience, even losing someone that you cared about deeply, or even someone that you fell out of love with, or whatever the scenario is when it comes to divorce, it's painful, yes, but it's something you can recover from. And you might find that life is a lot better for having left that situation. I'm married with a family now in my second marriage, and I'm very happy. Life isn't perfect, but that's the case in every relationship. But I can tell you that it is 1,000 times better than I imagined it would be at the time when facing being alone and leaving my first marriage. It's not the end of the world. It hurts, but it gets better. And in fact, it can be a lot better. While I regret how some things happened and transpired years ago, the things that I've gained have far outweighed the things that I lost. And so you might be in the same situation to where you are making that decision, should I go? Should I stay? And as I said before, only you can make that decision. But it might not be as bad as you think. In the same way that you probably never imagined yourself leaving the truth, you did. Whether you were disfellowshipped, whether you disassociated, you still left the truth. The truth. Ugh. And things turned out pretty good. They can be difficult, but they can be really satisfying and fulfilling. So whatever you decide that you need to do, remember to reach out for help if you need to. Seek community. Seek friends that you've made now. Try to keep a positive outlook even though you're facing a massive change in your life. And keep in mind that the freedom that you'll gain from leaving the organization is probably a lot better than most things you could have by staying. And with that, I'm going to close this down. I want to thank you for watching. As I mentioned before, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'm inching towards 2,000 subscribers. So I'm looking forward to seeing that go over the top, and I appreciate all of you. Remember that you are worth it, you are loved, and you got this. And bye for now.